then he worked over the shoulder of Foreman.
I had lost my most precious heavyweight championship of the world. That I remember like it was yesterday. It's a hard thing to live with, losing something like the championship of the world. I'd have to fight that fight most nights. And I'd be winning. Then I get knocked down. And by the time I jumped up, I wake up out of the dream again. I could not win that fight, not even in my dreams.
Foreman is not himself. He's going after the kid again, needlessly, for no reason. He is beaten. This is an absurd scene.
That fight in Zaire put him through a lot of soul-searching days where he had to deal with making decisions on who he was.
To go, and George is ready to go, believe it or not. There it is!
And for 10 years, I didn't even make a fist. I didn't shadow box, I didn't box, I left it and became an evangelist with the Church of the Lord Jesus Christ.
Down boxing and everything that had to do with boxing, so that people could learn about Jesus Christ.
He started giving away stuff. And he was giving away cars, big screen TVs.
The youth center started to take every dime I could get. I started speaking around the country to support the youth center. Once one of the preachers who had me and hosted me said, we're gonna raise money for George Foreman and his kid. And as he was raising money, the people looking at me behind the pulpit, I'd never felt so ashamed in my life. I went to my wife and told her, look, I've run out of money. I'm gonna have to go back into boxing. And she pleaded, don't do it. They're gonna kill you, George. You're not that guy anymore.
Tomorrow night, veteran boxer George Foreman will put on the gloves and climb back into the ring after almost a decade in retirement. Some skeptics think that this is just ridiculous. Foreman is just too old.
The basic questions about Foreman's comeback, his age at around 40, the quality of his opponents, the inactivity, he was out for 10 years.
He started off fighting you and I. Guys like you and I, nobody never heard of.
He started the comeback at 325 pounds.
I knew I wouldn't be able to take up where I'd left off 10 years ago. I was not as fast anymore because of the extra weight. I would have to change my style.
And George Foreman is now 11 for 11 in his comeback.
Boxing Smart Money says George Foreman's comeback is a fraud, that flattening one palooka after another is little more than flim-flam.
He's fought 19 people that were what we call in the parlance of boxing dead men. They were stiffs is another word, tomato cans is another word.
City to city, every reporter would take a shot at me. George is this, and they'd come out and give me long pieces too. He'll never do it. And they just take up the paper criticizing me. And at the same time, they were making me all famous again.
The preacher, George Foreman, against the puncher, Jerry Cooney.
Oh, and look at the left, come up and slice the one. And Jerry Cooney's in big trouble. He's ready to go. And there he goes.
And I'm like, wow, you know what? He is slow, but it do connect.
Oh, and that's it. And I don't think
it wasn't just a knockout, it was an easy knockout. And that raised eyebrows. And that got the public starting to think, oh, you know, he's still George Foreman. He still has that unbelievable punching power, even though he's got a belly.
At that time, I was the heavyweight champion of the world, and I was like, you had your time, but it's my time now.
He had become champion of the world. He needed lots of money, and the only one who had done publicity enough was George Foreman.
Fact is, the clock will not go back.
That is not a fact, what you're saying. The fact is, I can become heavyweight champion of the world if I want to at any age.
And now let's see, is George Foreman for real, or is this the farce that many critics have said it will be? Butting left hand from Foreman, and Holyfield backs onto the ropes. Crowd gets excited. Right hand on the surface of Holyfield's head, and he's momentarily stunned. Left, right, Holyfield, and a left and a right, and Foreman's in serious trouble.
And still, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, the real deal, Evander Holyfield.
Foreman lands a good punch. Morrison, wild, missed both combos. I am telling you, Morrison throws a big bag of weeds. George Foreman legendary comeback is finished.
Fast forward to 1994, and the moment when Michael Moore wins the heavyweight championship. Michael Moore is another fresh-faced, brand-new heavyweight champion. What does he want to do? He wants to make money. So he does the same thing that Holyfield did. Let's go straight to George. That's the way to get the biggest audience. And I'm sure that Moore, at age 26, unbeaten, having just beaten Evander Holyfield, didn't really believe in his heart that there was going to be that big a challenge in fighting George Foreman.
Expect Moore to start off working behind the right jab that served him so well in the battle with Holyfield.
George just couldn't get off. He's going to have to punch and try to club him and just keep beating him. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Sharp right by Moore, who seems to be gaining confidence. Solid left hand over the top by Moore. Backing Foreman up again. Michael Moore is working as though his respect for Foreman decreases from round to round. 7 rounds in the books. Harold Letterman, how do you see it so far?
Jim, 6 rounds to 1, 69-64. A commanding 5-point lead for Michael Moore.
Solid right hand by Moore. Foreman's left eye beginning to close. Rapid fire succession. Left hand over the top lands for Moore, but he now looks to me as though he thinks he's going to be able to knock Foreman out, and he thinks he'll do it by standing in front of him and trading shots. Uppercut by Moore blasted Foreman's chin backwards, and George makes it out of the round that bedeviled him in Zaire 20 years ago. In round 9, George Foreman threw only 35 punches. His activity level dropping now. Right hand landed there, and another. And a right and a left, and suddenly Moore stops punching, and it's Foreman's initiative.
You give all the credit in the world, but again, he's a 45-year-old man in a young man's game. Big right hand. That's the best right hand of the fight.
Down goes Moore on a right hand. An unbelievably close-in right hand shot. It happened. It happened.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official particulars.
In the MGM Grand, the impossible dream has happened. The winner, and once again, heavyweight champion of the world, Big George
Foreman. Would George Foreman today have stood a chance against that George Foreman?
No doubt about it, because I'm using a little brain power now.
You would have stood a chance against him?
I would have gotten out of the way and then waited and took my time and knocked a young George Foreman out.